The ultimate death game has just gotten more dangerous. The government has sent you to die on an island filled with vicious terrorists who have turned it into the perfect kill zone. They can gun you down from any direction, blow you up with hidden traps around every corner, and your mission is to kill their leader. What do? How do we beat someone who's already beaten their game once before? I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the government manhunt in Battle Royale 2 Requiem. This might seem like a normal class of middle schoolers, but they're actually the worst students in all of Japan. They're all delinquents and losers who have no idea that they've been selected for this year's Battle Royale, with a crazy new twist. The students are tricked into going on a field trip and they're all having a good time, but they all fall asleep and wake up later that night in a strange place. They're brought to a military base and thrown into a cage, surrounded by soldiers. Okay, we all know where this is going. An entire class abducted by the government and waking up with a collar around your neck is a pretty clear indication that we've been chosen to fight to the death. Escape is futile and panicking is a waste of time, so the earlier we build a strategy, the better chances we have to survive. Now, there's a wealth of information inside of this cage that we can use to get an early advantage, and for me, that starts with my classmates. I'm immediately evaluating who among us would be the easiest to kill. The way this blonde reacts already tells me that she's not taking this seriously enough, and that means she won't be prepared to defend herself when the death game starts. That makes her an easy kill. My next target is this guy. He's whining about how his explosive collar is uncomfortable around his neck, which is really short-sighted. His glasses are also a weakness here. If I knock them off, he will have a harder time defending himself, making for an easy kill. Identifying our first target gives us a head start, because it takes more players out of the game quickly, and you'll be able to steal weapons and resources from the survivor kits they'll get before they become too hard to find. Their teacher reveals that a terrorist group known as the Wild 7 have taken control of an island and are using it as a fortress. These kids are now part of a new and improved deathmatch, where their goal is to work together as a team to take down the terrorist leader in 72 hours, or they all die. And that terrorist is none other than Shuya, the winner and fugitive of the Battle Royale from the first movie. Now this just got way more interesting. We have to fight and kill someone that already beat the death game and has been successfully evading the government for 3 years. So now that we're working as a team, I'm completely changing strategies and thinking about how every person in this room can keep me alive. Those guys that I wanted to kill are now my best fucking friends. I'm using friendship and teamwork as a human shield for as long as I can. The teacher tells them they can either join willingly or stay behind to face the consequences. Each of the students choose to enter the death game, but one kid refuses. He gets shot in the leg and executed, leaving them all shocked. But suddenly this girl starts beeping and the teacher reveals that the students' collars have been paired. She runs for the gate as her collar explodes and kills her. Okay, every student has been paired with another, and if they die, you die. Thankfully, we're finding this out beforehand, but now I'm seriously concerned about who I've been paired with. These are middle schoolers who have virtually no life experiences, and there are a lot of weak links in the room. If your partner is useless in a life-threatening situation, they can easily get you killed. So we need to counter this problem by creating our own additional pairing system based on each student's survival skills. Soldiers also use this strategy in military operations by dividing themselves into squads that are both large and varied enough in their skill sets to provide safety to the entire unit. I would split the whole class into 2 teams of 20 students. This will help to compensate for all the weaker kids who are going to get us killed. The game is broken down into 3 missions, and the first is to land on the island successfully. The kids get weapons and armor and are sent out on boats. They're given the terrorist location, but the island has been divided into danger zones that change every hour. If they stay in one for too long, their collars explode. They begin to make their approach, and that's when things go ballistic. The students are attacked by the terrorists, and with each death, another partner dies with them. The class hasn't even reached the island yet, and 12 of them have already died. This is incredibly stupid, and nobody can do stupid as well as the government. Attacking an enemy who has the high ground and machine gun nests to defend the entire beach is a recipe for failure. Nothing about this operation is designed to keep me alive, and we don't even have any ammo yet. At this point, I'm abandoning any government-approved strategy from now on. Now, because of these paired collars, the first thing I'm doing is making sure each boat has their partners inside. If we get too far away from each other and your partner's in the other boat, you're going to die because of the 50-meter distance limit on these collars. It sounds obvious, but if nobody says it, it's an easy mistake to make here. But even with our partners in the same boat, we're still easy target practice for these terrorists right now, and this needs fixing. Since bullets will actually break up on impact with the water, I'm jumping out of the boat and swimming around the side of the island towards the rocks to stay out of the line of fire. Once we've regrouped, we can flank the terrorists from multiple sides, resulting in less casualties. The kids storm the beach like a scene out of Saving Private Ryan. Bullets are flying everywhere, but they manage to find cover. The students split up into two groups to divide the terrorist attack, with Squad A running across the beach and Squad B circling around the rocks. Overhead, a helicopter flies in and releases supplies. Their second operational mission is to secure the ammo. They reach the boxes near a building where they discover all kinds of useful things. This girl finds an underbarrel grenade launcher, this guy gets ammo for their guns, and this kid gets toilet paper. Talk about your crappy luck. They make a run for better cover, but one of them gets wounded. The kids try their best to treat his injuries, but toilet paper can't fix everything. His collar starts beeping and they realize his partner is in a danger zone, but instead of running to the group, she goes off and gets herself blown up. Okay, these collars are no joke, and this war zone is killing people in pairs way too quickly, so we need to figure out how to disrupt them before our dumbass partners get us killed. The 50-meter range is going to limit our movement around the island, and if you have to drag your partner everywhere, it makes it really hard to run for cover and avoid getting shot. Now, thanks to this girl who died in the cage, we know the collars beep for 2 minutes before exploding. We can also see from her wound that the blast radius is relatively small, so that gives me some hope that we could block the blast if we had a strong enough material. And the strongest items available are these watches. The backs are made of stainless steel, so if I place one behind the collar and wrap it with cloth or socks to protect my neck, it just might be enough to dampen the impact to survive the blast. If this actually works, I would have everyone spread out to set them off, so we can rid ourselves of these collars permanently. With his partner dead, this kid runs out of the building and tells the group to continue on without him. He decides to go out fighting the terrorists, but is shot by an enemy sniper. One of the squads make their way into a ruined building as they hear the teacher list all of the names of everyone who's died. This has gone to a whole new level, and they have even less chances of survival if they don't figure this out. That's when this girl here reveals she's diabetic, and she'll run out of insulin if they don't finish the job quickly. Okay, this girl has a weakness, and even though we are working as a team, we could use this to exploit her for the greater good. There are a lot of dangerous tasks that we will need to do in order to survive this death game, such as scouting the enemy's position and checking for booby traps, and nobody will want to take on that personal risk. Some people are gonna need an extra push to make them do anything, and we need to work together if we want the best chance to kill the terrorist. If we take away her insulin and use it as leverage, we can force her to perform all the dangerous tasks for us. It's cruel, but allows for things to get done quickly. There's no democracy in a death game, and sometimes drastic measures need to be taken to ensure everyone's survival. Suddenly, an explosion goes off outside, and the other squad goes to investigate. They look up to find a student hanging from a pole, and his legs are missing. They realize he triggered one of the trip mines that fill this area, and they're right in the middle of a minefield. Then this girl's collar starts beeping, and the students freak out. They all argue whether to help her or not and come dangerously close to blowing themselves up. Okay, this girl's collar was triggered because her partner has just died, and unless they find a way to block the blast, she's got no chance of surviving. But having a big fight about it in the middle of a minefield is going to get everyone killed. The smartest thing to do is shoot her in the head, because otherwise she will run around in a panic and set off the tripwires. There's also a more merciful death than having your neck torn to pieces. I'd rather be shot by my friend than executed by the government. Now that she's dealt with, we need to make it out of this minefield without tripping any more of them. To do this, I tie my rifle sling to the carry handle of the gun here to easily find the wires before I cross them. The sling is too light to trip the mine, so by holding it out in front of me while I walk forward, it will visibly curl around any tripwire ahead of me and I'll be able to avoid them. I would also look for any signs that the terrorists might have used to mark their own traps, like piles of rocks or sticks in the ground. The Viet Cong often did this so they wouldn't trip it themselves. Footpaths, trails, and openings in the forest are places that are most likely to have traps, and I would avoid these at all costs. The other squad hears them screaming over the comm line, and this kid rushes to save his friend, but this girl, Shiori, holds them up at gunpoint. Helping their friend is a lost cause, and she will let them risk their lives to help. Now, I like this girl's thinking. She's reacting to the situation with laser-sharp focus on achieving the primary goal, and that's killing the terrorist to win the game. Going back to help someone is way too risky, and when people are too panicked to think clearly, threatening to kill them is the most efficient way possible to stop them from making a terrible mistake. There are still 24 students remaining, and every living body is a resource that we need in order to find and kill the terrorists, so knowing when to cut your losses to keep others alive is extremely good decision making. Back with the second squad, this kid's body falls in a trip mine, setting off a chain reaction of more explosions. This is not going well for them, and at this rate, everyone will be dead before lunchtime. Their third operational mission is to storm the castle and kill the leader of the terrorists, and this one isn't going to be easy. The first squad has made it further into the island, finding a massive fortress the terrorists constructed from scratch. It's really impressive, but there's a silver lining here. This place isn't made out of brick, stone, or cement. They've built this place out of sticks and thin sheet metal, and it's no match for our firepower as long as we advance our position with a clever strategy to gain the advantage. Okay, the fortress has been set up on a steep hill, and it gives them a huge advantage, so attacking it from the front is going to get us killed. Unfortunately, it's also necessary, because we will need a convincing distraction so that the others can go around to the sides and flank their fortress. The grenade launchers are the best bet at blowing a hole through their walls, but they'll have to get close enough to do it. I would have them flank the sides while the rest stay back and shoot from cover in order to draw their fire. The grenades will draw the terrorists' attention away, and the gunmen can advance safely from the front and storm the castle. Together, the students break through the stronghold walls and enter the fortress, where they see this little girl and chase after her, but suddenly explosions go off under the water, catching them all off guard. The lights turn on, and dozens of guns are pointed at them. One of the terrorists tries to reason with them, but someone shoots him and the two groups start blasting each other. By the end, 6 more students are dead, and their partners' collars activate. Okay. This decision was completely self-destructive. This terrorist kid wanted to negotiate, and personally, I would have done it in a heartbeat. We have 0 chance of getting out of this situation alive because they have the high ground, we're totally surrounded, and we have no cover. If we surrender, they'll take our weapons, but they'll also move us somewhere else while we're held captive. Changing environments to one that gives us better options to kill or escape is the only strategy we have. This girl cleverly sneaks away and manages to grab the young girl hostage. They back down and wheel out this device to generate an electromagnetic pulse that shuts down the collars, saving their lives. Back at base camp, the Battle Royale administrators are freaking out, as they all see the collars have gone offline and they know what it means. The terrorists have caught them, and they send special forces to finish the job. It's the second day. All of the surviving students have been disarmed and finally get to meet the terrorist leader Shuya in the flesh. One of the students gets dragged over, and this woman starts filing down her collar to remove it. They really have this game figured out. The leader questions if killing him will really solve anything. The Battle Royale will be over if they do, but there's no way they can move on after what they've gone through. Okay, this guy is right. We'll be experiencing some pretty serious PTSD as a result of all of this, but if playing the game means staying alive and regaining my freedom, I'm taking that deal, PTSD or not. Now at the moment, we're in a good situation, because we might get some sympathy here. These terrorists are actually just kids from other death games that escaped the government and refused to back down. So they have a vested interest in keeping us alive because they will need more soldiers to join their cause. As tempting as it is to say f the system and join them, these guys are living in squalor in basically a castle-sized shack. They're off the grid with limited supplies, weapons, and ammo, and will probably be on the run for the rest of their lives. I'm really not interested in wasting my life playing Apocalypse now, so if I have to kill them to get back to my nice cozy bed and forget this ever happened, I'm still going to look for that opportunity to win the game. Meanwhile, the soldiers have already made it onto the island and have entered the lower levels of their fortress. A rebel spots them and escapes in time to warn all the students. The leader is ambushed, but takes out the enemy's soldiers with ease. Taking her opportunity, this girl aims a gun at the leader, but hesitates. She doesn't pull the trigger, giving Shuya here enough time to grab her gun and call her an idiot for not firing. And he's absolutely right. She's thrown away a perfect opportunity to win the game for everyone. Down below, Taku here flips out and starts fighting side by side with the rebels, causing the soldiers to report back that the students have officially joined the terrorists. The rebels manage to kill all of the soldiers in the shootout, as Taku here takes the liberty of finishing the last one off. Okay, Taku here just screwed us all over. Killing the leader here was our best ticket out of this place, and after the shootout, there's no way the government will let us keep playing the game like nothing ever happened. But there's still another way we could get out of this without having to choose sides. I would search the coast to find where the soldiers have docked their boats. If they're not heavily guarded, we could hijack one and take them back to the mainland. These look like the Zodiac F-470 rubber reader used by the US Navy SEALs, which have 18-gallon fuel bladders. There should be enough gas in them to get back to the mainland, since the special forces would be expected to return back to base once they've completed the mission. But navigating our way back will still be difficult if we have no skills in wayfinding. Celestial navigation is a technique sailors have used to navigate the seas, where they memorize the position of constellations in the sky. But the points of reference depend on which hemisphere you're in. Japan is right at the bottom of the northern hemisphere, so the North Star Polaris is the best reference point to find, as it's the brightest star in the Little Dipper constellation, which is roughly 36 degrees above the horizon for Japan and will practically never move throughout the year. To travel south, you'll want to use Orion's belt and his sword as a reference point, which you can locate based on 3 bright stars arranged in a row. Forming a line from the sword down into the horizon, you can usually rely on this to make your way south. It's day 3, and all the students have been freed from their explosive collars. They might not be playing the game anymore, but they're still not free from this hellish situation. Realizing he needs global support to defeat the government, Shuya here makes an international broadcast calling on the youth of the world to rebel against all the adults. But that's when a missile strikes the freedom fighters' headquarters. Everyone is sent scrambling for cover, killing more students in the attack. The Battle Royale administrators find out from the Prime Minister that the missile was launched from the United States, who have warned Japan that they'll be attacked again in 12 hours if the situation isn't resolved. They're done playing games, and the Prime Minister commands every single soldier of Japan to go to the island and slaughter everyone still alive. Later that night, the survivors regroup, and Shuya here reveals his plan for the students to escape through a mine shaft that might lead all the way back to the mainland, while the others stay behind to fight the soldiers as a diversion. But he thinks it's their only chance to get anyone out of here alive. Okay, this is lazy thinking and poor leadership. He's right to be willing to sacrifice some of his soldiers if it means most of them can escape, but there's also another way to do this that will cost him less men. We could try setting up a drip rifle, which was a tactic used by the Anzacs during the evacuation from Gallipoli. Using a string and cans of water, rifles can be set up on a time delay, automating the firing of their guns, which gives the appearance of a larger army unit behind them. 1 or 2 soldiers would have to stay behind to keep feeding ammo into all of the guns, but that's better than sacrificing the whole rebel army like he's proposing. The next morning, everyone is getting ready to make their last stand. All the students, women, and children head to the mine shaft to escape, except for Shiori here, who stays behind. Outside, scores of soldiers approach the stronghold. The rebels put up a good fight, but they can't stop them from advancing. Okay, this was always going to be a losing battle. They're completely outnumbered, but they could have done a lot more with their time to prepare for this. Apart from the drip rifles, they could have used these fishing nets as snares to trap the attackers and lift them into the air. This would make it extremely easy to shoot them before they're cut down. I'd also get a little old school here. The Viet Cong famously made these punji pits, which were holes in the ground filled with sharpened sticks to great effect in the Vietnam War. They already have tons of wooden poles here we can use, so I'd remove and sharpen some of them and dig holes where we would expect the soldiers to take cover and hide it with leaves, branches, and dirt. Tripwire mines could be set up in doorways as a nasty surprise for anyone running in, and by strategically barricading certain entry points, we could funnel the soldiers into key areas to ambush them. Now, if we were getting a little creative, we could also try using the metal wires inside of this piano, connect them to the generator in the IT room, and run them through water. With a live current running through it, the soldiers will get shocked that they walk through the water, and we could take more of them out. Also, these rebels have demonstrated a lot of experience making improvised explosive devices. We could gather small scraps of metal to create shrapnel bombs and plant them around the fortress. When enough soldiers have approached, we shoot the closest bomb and take them out. If the whole plan is designed to give the kids time to run away, any tactic to slow down the soldiers is considered a win here. The students down in the tunnels can hear the fighting get more intense, and 3 of them decide to go back and help. They join the fight and shoot down the attacking soldiers, but 2 of them get killed, and the rebels have been backed into a corner. This rebel sniper activates a countdown and runs to fight off the soldiers. There are too many and she gets killed, but she holds them off long enough for the others to escape. Shuya and the students here manage to take out the Special Forces captain, but this deathmatch isn't over yet. The weirdo teacher suddenly appears dressed in a rugby uniform. He's unhappy with the extreme actions of the government and his own color starts to beep. He tells them to get out of here and flings himself forward just as the entire stronghold blows up. That countdown the sniper set off was to blow this whole place to Kingdom Come. The fighting continues, but Shiori here gets fatally wounded and the island gets blown up by a barrage of incoming missiles. The battle royale is over, but the bodies of the 6 remaining students, along with the terrorist leader Shuya, are still missing. 3 months later, they all resurface in Afghanistan, having survived the death game and lived to fight another day.
But what do you think? How would you beat Battle Royale? Let me know with a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, leave a like and subscribe, and check out the How to Beat playlist for more videos like this. Until next time, have a damn good day.